Hey guys, if you were ever wondering how you can speak in front of an audience and get those 10 members of that gym to become your patients, this episode is perfect for you. I did about 15, 20 minutes previewing what our next live event is going to be about. And so many of you guys have inquired. The end of September 23rd, 24th, we are having our next live event here in New Jersey. And so if you have questions on what we are going to be covering, I cover all of it and so much more in this podcast today. So if you are a listener of our podcast and are not in our community right now, please listen to this episode. And then in our show notes, we will have links so that you can apply for a guest pass. I give all the details in the episode. And so please take the time to listen and apply so that we can see you in September. What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Business School for the Rehab Chiropractor. Class is officially in session. My name is Justin Rabinowitz, and I am a rehab chiropractor on a mission to teach you, a fellow rehab chiropractor, the exact tools and systems I've used to build my own successful rehab chiropractic practice so you can do the same. I hope you enjoy, and please subscribe. I just moved last week and I'm now in my basement, which I hope to turn into my office at some point. But right now it's a bunch of boxes, no desk. So I'm sitting here. I have no notes. I have no desk. I have no chair. And this basement is kind of a disaster. And I'm telling you that because what I'm going to talk to you about now is just me kind of spitballing, shooting from the hip, so to speak. And really, I just want to sort of tell you a story because what I'm going to talk about now is our next live event coming in September. And I really can't implore you enough and let you know how important it is that I think that you attend. So if you will engage with me for the next few minutes so I can speak about it. And I hope that you at least give yourself a chance and maybe even inquire with us to see if you're a good fit for our live event. But again, if you'll just indulge me for a little bit, I wanted to start with a story. The first thing is if you go back to the first ever episode that this podcast ever did, I think it was February of last year. Some of you guys have been with us that whole journey. Some of you guys have gone back and listened to that episode. You'll see the title of that episode is, I think it's How to Make $25,000 Speaking at a Gym. And the reason why I started with that episode is pretty simple. Because if you asked me, and I've been asked on podcasts before, Justin, if you could only do one thing to build your business as quick as possible, what would you do? The answer wouldn't be marketing. It wouldn't be digital ads. It wouldn't be Google ads. It wouldn't be anything of the sort. What it would be going and speaking in front of a captive audience and getting those people to become my patients. And so for me to teach you and tell you how important I think that speaking in front of an audience is, like I said, the first ever episode that I launched on this podcast was about how to speak in front of that audience. But even since that time of releasing that episode, my perspective has changed and grown tremendously. So I don't know if any of you guys have ever felt like you've either opened your business or worked a job or trained for a sport and you did everything everybody told you to do. You worked really hard at it. You spent time. You were away from your family, your friends. You made sacrifices. You just kept showing up. You know, half the battle is just showing up. You've probably heard that all the time. But you never got results from it. And even though you're a hardworking person, and even though you're someone who will keep pushing through and pursuing, there's that little voice in the back of your head of like, am I doing it correctly? Am I spending the time I should? Am I wasting my time? Does this work? If you haven't had those voices in your head, you're not human. And I can tell you straight up, that was something I realized a few years ago. It happened to me so many times that I felt like I needed to make a change. And so I think in general, I'm a pretty hardworking guy. I'm a pretty hardworking person. So when I opened my practice, I had heard from my mentors or people that one of the best things you could do is go and speak in front of an audience. Get in front of a captive group of individuals, 5, 10, 15 people, and speak to them. Because that's the best way, public speaking, to get clients, to get patients to come into your office. And so I started to do it. And so starting in 2015 when I opened, I would start to go do lectures in gyms. In 2016, I do lectures in gyms. In 2017, 2018, we do lectures in gyms. And so we do lectures on shoulder pain and back pain and knee pain. And I would go to CrossFit gyms and small group training gyms. And I would go to all these places where my perfect patient was there. And I would look at these people sitting there who I knew had a problem that I could solve. And I would deliver a seminar and I would deliver the message and I would tell them and I'd be passionate about everything going on. And by the end of the seminar, you know what would happen? They would come up to me, they would smile, they'd say, "Thank you so much." And then that was it. And I did this for years and years and years. And while I am happy that I delivered value to these people, what I realized was I wasn't providing them enough value so that I could actually help them solve the problem that they had. And more than that, what I recognized was it wasn't because they didn't trust me. It wasn't because that they didn't want help from me. It was because I wasn't clear on how to communicate with them to help them understand, number one, that they had a problem. And number two, I was the perfect person to help solve their problem. And number three, the best way to solve that problem wasn't in an hour lecture. It was by them becoming a patient in my practice. And so for years I would go and I would finish the seminar and my friends and family and coworkers, they would say, "How did it go?" And I'd say, it was really great. It turned out well. I taught about shoulder pain and I showed them some exercises and the reception was great and everyone smiled. The gym owner was really happy. We delivered value. And then I would sort of leave and go home and I'd say, well, that was good. And maybe one day will help me in my practice. But today I'm not going to make any money and my practice isn't going to grow because none of those people in that gym were going to become my patient. And so if that is you out there, if you are either in school, just graduated, just getting your business off the ground or looking to grow and scale your business, and you are someone who is frustrated because you don't go and do the lectures, you go into the community and do the activities, you go and speak to people, but they just don't become your patient and they don't become a client of your business, then our seminar on September 23rd and 24th in New Jersey is going to be revolutionary for your career. It's going to be revolutionary for your career. So that was me in 2017, 2018. And what I realized at the time, after some going back and forth, was that my content was good and that I did know what I was talking about. And I was in the right place, but it didn't start that way. Here's one of the biggest concerns, and I don't know if any of you have felt this before. It was specifically with CrossFit. And so this is 2016 and 2017. I thought that people that went to CrossFit would be a good audience for me. Why? Well, because I knew that they're willing to spend more on their health because they're going to a CrossFit gym, which is more expensive than a regular gym. And if I did a back pain seminar and 10 people showed up, I knew that they had back pain. And so they're willing to spend money on their health. And I know that they have a problem because they're raising their hand to show up. But because none of them became my patients, what I thought was that actually CrossFit was not our perfect patient. That I should no longer deal with CrossFitters in general because they were not someone who was going to see investing in their health as a good strategy. Because CrossFit, they beat the heck out of themselves, they beat the shit out of themselves, and they're not really looking to get out of pain. That was what I thought. And I almost gave up on going to CrossFit gyms specifically because that is what I thought. Thank God I realized that it wasn't them, it was me. It was me who didn't understand how to communicate with these people to help them recognize and understand that not only did they have a problem, not only could I solve it, but the best option for them out of all of the other options that they can choose from was to come to my practice and let me help them and let me treat them. And so without that, our practice in this business would not have grown to where it is. Speaking more about talking in public, now that we have a coaching company, we have 4 members in our mastermind group, and I'm going to give a couple shout outs here. We have 4 members of our mastermind group We have Justice Kaufman, Derek Huddleston, we have Mark Kanopka, and Colton Purcell. All four of those members of our group now have had unbelievable success. To be honest, I think a lot of them, they're like almost more successful in a short period of time than they even ever imagined. And you know how they all got into my world? Because Josh Satterley allowed me to come and speak at one of his events last May, and all four of those guys were in the audience. And because in an hour of time, I was able to stand in front of them and deliver an hour of content, they trusted me enough to give me a chance to be able to help them grow their business. And so if I want to have impact in the world, or you want to have impact in the world, and you think you have a service that can help people, I can't tell you how important it is to be able to deliver a message to a group of people so that they actually give you a chance to help. And so what we are going to do in September at this live event is we are going to go through step by step by step by step in detail. We are going to practice it over and over and over again. And you will leave that weekend knowing that you can go to any gym, any lecture, and you are going to go in there knowing that you are going to get new patients from it. Guaranteed. Guaranteed. We know now that when we speak in front of 10 people, I expect to make $20,000. That's the level that we know we are going to achieve when we get in front of our perfect patient with the right messaging, with the right conversation, with the right exercise selection, with the right calls to action. At our live event in September, we are going to go through each and every one of those steps. And so if you are someone who's looking to grow their practice, if you are someone making $5,000, $6,000, $7,000, $8,000 a month and want to make 20, if you're someone making 10 that wants to make 30, if you're someone making 30 and wants to make 50, we are going to show you as fast as humanly possible how you can go and make that extra revenue in your practice. We are going to spend 2 days. We are going to spend 2 days going through each and every step of the way so that you can, number one, figure out how to reach the right audience. Number two, get butts in seats for them to show up. Number three, how to pre-frame those people so that they show up ready to understand what you're going to sell them. And by the end, you're going to have a strong call to action and a strong plan so that those people now show up and arrive in your office. And I joked with my mastermind members this past week that our last live event in May, it was sort of teaching you the hip hinge. It was teaching you to squat. It was teaching you to overhead press. It was the fundamentals, right? I believe that this next event is like taking steroids. It is like taking DECA. It is like taking testosterone, because this is something that's going to get you big and strong and fast very, very quickly. Again, if you go home and you execute on what we tell you to do, I can guarantee you that if you use what we tell you to do, you are going to go and speak for an hour and you are going to make thousands of dollars. And so for some simple math, I just can't, I just look at this as an investing process. So let's just say for now, it costs you $1,000 to get to the event. Let's just call it $1,000. Let's say your plans of care of a new patient is worth $2,000. And so if you come to this live event, spend $1,000, and then you go home and get one more new patient from it to make $2,000, you kind of put in $1 and made $2. I'll tell you what, if you do that investing strategy for the rest of your career, you're going to be very, very wealthy. And so I just can't see a world where this isn't worth your time, effort, and energy to learn how to do this. Something else I wanted to speak about. A lot of the mastermind members that come into our community, they hate business. At least they think they hate business. But what they realize after taking our course and being in our world is that they don't hate business. They didn't know business. And oftentimes in life, we hate things that we don't know anything about. And so for many of you out there who are afraid of speaking in public or are uncomfortable speaking in groups, what I would challenge you to start thinking about is why? Is it that you just don't know enough, that you don't have a plan and strategy, that you don't have a step-by-step approach, that if we can give you the knowledge, we can give you the framework, we can help you practice and strategize so that you can get in front of the audience and do exactly what we teach you to do, that maybe we'll no longer be afraid of it. Maybe we'll actually learn to embrace it. Yeah, it'll be uncomfortable in the beginning, but if you know what you're doing, and you have a good plan and strategy, I am very confident you're going to be significantly more comfortable doing the thing. And so this event is going to be a version of speaking school. It's going to be a version of speaking school. It's going to be teaching you how to communicate, because I think all of us understand that as doctors, as healthcare providers, whether it's in a one-to-one setting, whether it's in a group fitness setting, whether it's in a lecture setting, that if we can communicate our message well, we are going to get people to take action on what we want them to take action on. And when they take action on what we want them to take action on, we are going to be able to have an impact on the community. Because my friends, if you're in a community and you want to help people, you're going to have trouble helping them if they don't become your patient. And you know what's even worse than that? There's two options if they don't become your patient. The first one is they do nothing. And the second option is they go and see the crazy, sleazy chiro down the street that you don't want to be. And so I believe that you are doing a disservice to your community, the ones that you want to help, if you can't get in front of them and deliver a lecture, a conversation, a message that gets them excited enough, that motivates them enough to go and take action to become a patient in your practice. So if you want to have an impact on your community, if you want to be someone that shows up as the leader, if you want to be someone that is looking to change the profession and to give a good name to chiros and to promote this rehab chiropractic profession, I believe your only option is to learn how to communicate and speak in front of that audience to get those people to become your patient. You do not, my friends, want to be the best kept secret in your town. And if you cannot communicate in a proper way, you will forever and always be the best kept secret in your town. And you will always be frustrated that people will not want to see you, but they'll want to see the crazy guy down the street. But like I always say, that's not their fault, that's your fault. And so I'm inviting you. We have a guest passes. We have a few guest passes. If you're in our mastermind, you guys have gotten the spiel already. I know you all will be there. Last event, we had about 70 people and we had about 7 guests. We have opened up 10 guest spot passes for this next live event, September 23rd and 24th. So if you've listened to my podcast, you are not in our mastermind group, you are not a member of our community, I'm speaking directly to you right now. You need to be here with us in September. We're going to have the details in the show notes below. We're going to have a form in the show notes below so that you can apply for one of our guest passes. And here's what's going to happen. Once you apply for the guest pass, somebody on our sales team is going to get on the phone with you. Specifically, we'll set up a Zoom call so that we can get an idea of if you're a good fit. You can ask any questions that you have. We can give you an idea of what's going to happen on that weekend. And then we can make a decision together on if it's worth you investing your time, effort, energy to come and be with us for that weekend. I'm going to release some more details going forward, but the meat of this event is going to be about speaking. And like I said, I only put on events that I think have benefited our business tremendously. And we've gone from being a couple $100,000 business to well into the 7 figures in a relatively short time. And it's not for anything else than me teaching you guys what we've done. And my team will tell you one of the main things we've done to ensure the growth in our practice is learning how to speak in public. So I'm inviting you guys, if you guys are not a part of our community, what a great opportunity for you to come and experience it, learn something, and go reinvest in yourself, reinvest in your community, and go ahead and make some money along the way. So if you do want one of our guest passes and you hear this podcast, please click down in the show notes, apply for a guest pass, and I can't wait to see you in September. Thank you so much for listening to this episode. And if you found this content valuable, here are 4 ways I can help you for free. 1, grab a copy of my free guide, the Rehab Chiropractor's Checklist. You can get that at go.drjustinrabinowitz.com/guide. That's go.drjustinrabinowitz.com/guide. 2, go ahead and give me a follow on Instagram at Justin Rabinowitz, where I post business content. 3, subscribe to my weekly newsletter by sending me an email at coaching@strivetomove.com. And 4, leave us a 5-star review so we can gain access to more influential people and bring those lessons back to you.